Chapter 163. Gu Xingyin looked at Oliwen, who was blocking her in confusion. Owen's melancholy blue eyes had already turned dark red, and his cultured and refined face had also become devilishly charming. "Catherine, you are my fiancée. How can you have feelings for other men?" he said in a low voice. "What a joke." Catherine looked at him coldly. "Oliwen, where did you get the confidence to say such things to me?" Oliwen's eyes flashed with pain, but it was quickly covered by blood. "I will not allow you to like other men. The only person who is worthy of you is me." Oliwen looked at Gu Xingyin steadily. Gu Xingyin was confused by this development. What was going on? Didn't Oliwen like Rita? "Oliwen, your current situation is not normal. Look carefully. I am not Rita." Gu Xingyin looked at Oliwen's blood-red eyes, and knew that this was a sign of the McAvoy family falling into madness. "Rita? So you think I like her?" Oliwen laughed in a low voice. "I am very clear-headed, Catherine. Who is Rita? If she didn't look a little like you, I wouldn't even look at her. The one I love has always been you," he said with a sigh. Oliwen seemed to have revealed a secret that had been buried in his heart for many years. His eyes locked onto Gu Xingyin. Gu Xingyin was stunned by his words. "System, you did not tell me that Oliwen's true love is actually Catherine." The system was also very innocent. "I did not know either. This was not in the original plot." Gu Xingyin. This unreliable system. However, Oliwen still had to deal with it. "You love me, but you keep changing lovers. Oliwen, I really can't accept your love." Gu Xingyin's words were like a sharp knife stabbing into Oliwen's heart. He knew that a person like Catherine would not tolerate the fact that her other half was unfaithful. What if there's more to this matter than meets the eye? He refused to give up. Gu Xingyin looked at him steadily. "I don't want to know anything. You just need to tell me, are your lovers real?" Owen couldn't deny it. Gu Xingyin sneered. "Look, Oliwen, what are you using to prove your feelings for me? Are you going to use your endless supply of lovers?" She stopped talking and turned to leave. "Also, Owen, don't do anything to Lancelot, if you still want us to be friends." Her voice came from afar in the wind. Oliwen covered his face and laughed softly. "Deal with a human? Catherine, you are underestimating me, Owen McAvoy." Catherine was, after all, the highest leader of the Brooke family. It was impossible for her to spend all her time on Lancelot. She would only occasionally check on Lancelot's situation and leave some things behind. She would never meet with him. On the other hand, Rita's rate of improvement was shocking. Her strength was already close to that of a duke. The hierarchy of the blood race was very strict. High-ranking members of the blood race started from the Count, followed by the Marquis, the Duke, and finally the Prince. When she was transformed by Oliwen, she was only a Count. Even though Oliwen's blood transformed her, her speed of improvement was still shocking. Chapter 164. Gu Xingyin took the time to visit the Loki Kingdom. She did not tell anyone. She was surprised when she saw Rita. The woman in front of her was really Rita. Her lips were as red as blood, and she was drinking a cup of fresh blood. "Rita, long time no see." Gu Xingyin greeted her. Rita's relaxed expression froze. She seemed to be in disbelief. "Your Highness." "It's me." Gu Xingyin walked over. Rita seemed to be in a panic. She stood up and bowed to Gu Xingyin. When she stood up, she saw her gorgeous dress and black fingernails. She paused for a moment. "Your Highness, please take a seat." Rita personally poured a cup of fresh blood for Gu Xingyin, and turned to leave. When she came out again, she had changed into the familiar look Gu Xingyin was familiar with. Gu Xingyin suddenly realized that she had gone to remove her thick makeup just now. "You look more natural now. I almost didn't recognize you just now," Gu Xingyin said casually. Rita smiled shyly. "Your Highness, how come you have time to come here?" Gu Xingyin looked at her. "I heard that you have been improving very quickly recently. I came to see the new Duke of the Vampires." With Rita's speed, it would not be a problem for her to become a duke. There were less than 10 dukes in the entire vampire race. Rita seemed a little embarrassed. "In front of your Highness, a duke is nothing." Gu Xingyin looked at her. "Don't belittle yourself, Rita. You are already very good. Gu Xingyin stayed in the Loki kingdom for a day. When it was time to leave, Rita was reluctant to leave. If you have time, you can come to the Nightingale Castle. You are always welcome, Gu Xingyin said. What a pity. Rita lowered her eyes. His Highness Owen felt that he would not allow a disloyal person like me to set foot in Nightingale Castle. After Gu Xingyin returned to the Nightingale Castle, she began to prepare for her hibernation. Every 500 years, the vampires would go through a period of weakness. Usually they would enter a deep sleep during this period. This wasn't a small matter. The original Catherine had been sealed by Rita when she was in hibernation with a group of blood breeds. After confirming that the defensive measures of Nightingale Castle were all activated, Gu Xingyin also drew a huge defensive array in the basement where she chose to sleep. She left a message for Lancelot, saying that she had something to do and might not appear again for the next 100 years. The slumber of vampires ranged from a few decades to a few centuries. She had confidence in her lover. With his talent, she didn't know what he would become after 100 years. Gu Xingyin quietly fell into a deep sleep, as she felt the energy in her body rapidly depleting. What she didn't know was that by the time she woke up, the world outside had already changed. When she woke up, the system heaved a sigh of relief. Host, you've finally woken up. The system's tone seemed to be very glad. How long have I been asleep? Did something happen? The system replied. The host has been in hibernation for 160 years. Rita led many members of the McAvoy family to betray Owen. What did you say? Gu Xingyin was shocked. Why? The system hesitated for a moment. It is said that Duke Rita coveted Prince McAvoy's fiancée and was driven out of the McAvoy family in anger. Gu Xingyin coveted Owen's fiancée. Doesn't she like Owen? Wait. Gu Xingyin's eyes widened. Owen's fiancée. Chapter 165. You mean to say the person Rita likes is me? Gu Xingyin found it hard to believe. The system replied with silence. So, the reason Li Wen was jealous back then was because he could tell that Rita likes me and was jealous of Rita? The system fell silent once more. Gu Xingyin felt that she needed to calm down. How's Lance? She finally thought of her lover. Just as the system was about to speak, the restrictive barrier Gu Xingyin set up in the basement was broken. It was not brute force. Rather, it was the same method used to set up restrictive barriers. In this world, there was only one person who knew of this method. This time there was no need for the system to answer. Sure enough, in the next second, Lancelot's face appeared before Gu Xingyin. Catherine the Great, he called out to her with a hoarse voice. Then, he bent down and carried her out from the coffin. Sword Sage, not bad. You have improved a lot. However, how did you get in? Gu Xingyin asked as she leaned into his embrace. The man placed her down on a chair in the main hall. Then he crouched down and said, I fought my way in. Sure enough, in the next second, many of the castle's guards rushed in. When they saw Gu Xingyin, who was seated on the main seat, they said, Your Highness, a very powerful human rushed in with a strange weapon. You. His words were suddenly cut short. That very powerful human was kneeling on the ground, helping their grand prince put on his shoes. Gu Xingyin cast a cold glance at them and said, Leave. The guards obeyed and left. The guard who spoke earlier had a look of admiration on his face as he said, As expected of Your Highness the Grand Prince. To think that such a powerful human would succumb to Your Highness the Grand Prince's charm. The main hall fell into a state of silence. Lancelot suddenly stood up and said, You once told me that in order to become your man, I must first use my sword to prove my strength. Then, he bent down and looked at Gu Xingyin. The two of them could hear each other's breathing. Now, do I have the qualifications? Gu Xingyin raised his head, only to see his figure reflected in the other party's blue eyes. She chuckled softly, raised her hand, and wrapped it around his neck. Her breath smelled like orchids. I allow you to call me Katusha. Lancelot's expression suddenly became ecstatic. He couldn't wait any longer as he leaned over and pressed his lips on the woman's captivating red lips. Lancelot looked deeply at the person beneath him. He looked at her red lips that were especially moist because of the deep kiss just now. He looked at her eyes that were no longer cold and sparkling. Can I? He bent down and let her feel the changes in his body. Gu Xingyin didn't say anything. She just closed her eyes. At the height of his passion, Gu Xingyin could not help but extend his fangs and press them against Lancelot's neck. My dear Katyusha, bite down. Lancelot looked at her steadily. Gu Xingyin didn't hesitate any longer. Her fangs sank into his flesh. Lancelot felt as if fireworks were blooming in his mind. He groaned and fell onto Gu Xingyin's body. Gu Xingyin closed his eyes and indulged himself in sleep. When she woke up, she found herself lying on the bed. Her waist was held possessively by an arm. Awake. Lancelot's voice came from above her head. He was full of smiles. He wasn't asleep at all. Yesterday, he was overjoyed when he received his lover's approval. He didn't expect that there would be an even bigger surprise waiting for him. He stared at his lover's sleeping face and felt that he couldn't get enough of it. Chapter 166. After Gu Xingyin woke up, there were still a lot of things waiting for her to deal with. Not to mention the backlog of things in the Brooke family, there were still two troublesome matters. Owen and Rita. The two of them turned against each other because of Princess Brooke had caused an uproar among the vampires. Gu Xingyin's attitude towards this was to hold a banquet in Nightingale Castle. She was going to tell everyone that the Princess of Brooke already had someone she liked. Almost all the high-ranking blood breeds had received the invitation, including Owen and Rita. Many vampires were waiting to see how this would develop. However, they were disappointed. When Owen and Rita met, there were no sparks as expected. Both of them snorted coldly and went their separate ways. Actually, many vampires were curious. Rita was Owen's blood descendant. If Owen wanted her life, it would only take a thought. Why would he tolerate her until now? Gu Xingyin and Lancelot walked out together. The first thing she said made many blood breeds excited. Let me introduce you to the man beside me, Lancelot Ryan. He is my partner. Her words shocked everyone. Not a new lover, not a lover, not a blood descendant, but a partner. Vampires were naturally flirtatious, but they treated their other half very seriously. To the vampires, a partner meant loyalty and never abandoning each other. Before the vampires found their other half, they would mostly play around. Once they found their partner, such a life would no longer exist. Many of the blood breeds secretly shifted their attention to Olivia and Rita, wanting to see their reactions. The result did not disappoint them. Both of their expressions changed. Rita even screamed, "Your Highness, why did you choose a human? Didn't you say you liked me a lot?" Gu Xingyin acutely sensed the cold gaze of the man beside her. She vaguely glared back. Stop fooling around. Rita's words had attracted the attention of many vampires to Gu Xingyin. Gu Xingyin looked a little helpless. She looked at Rita as if she was an elder looking at an unreasonable junior. Rita, I did say that I like you. I have always treated you as a very likable junior, and not the kind of feelings you want. I don't like women. Rita seemed to be unable to accept it. She had dressed up rather formally today, but in her grief, she could not care less about her exquisite makeup. She covered her face and wept softly. It's not like this, it shouldn't be like this. What about me? Catherine, do you still remember our engagement? Livingston looked straight at her. The word engagement successfully made Lancelot tighten his grip on his sword. That's right, she still had a legitimate fiancé. Owen, Gu Xingyin said seriously, the entire vampires know about our engagement. I have never interfered with the things you have done in the past. Now that I have found my partner, let's end our engagement. Oli Wen calmly listened to her words. Just when everyone thought that he would get angry, he slowly smiled. I don't agree unless. He looked straight at the man standing beside Gu Xingyin who had not spoken. Let him and me have a fair fight. Chapter 167. Owen's words caused many of the vampires to rejoice in his misfortune. Between Owen and Lancelot, all of the vampires were biased towards Owen. A weak human dared to covet the most honorable Prince Brooke of the vampires. What a fool. Everyone was waiting to see Lancelot make a fool of himself. Owen was the prince of the Macavie clan, a noble pure-blooded. Among the vampires, only Catherine the Great was a match for him. No one else was a match for him. Not to mention humans. Many of them thought that Gu Xingyin would step forward to stop him. Unexpectedly, she only took a step back and gave the human space. It seemed that the prince didn't like the human that much. Many of the vampires thought. Otherwise he wouldn't have watched him die. Lancelot only glanced at Gu Xingyin, his eyes full of affection. As for the other vampires, except for Catherine the Great, no one else was worthy of his attention. He pulled out the sword in his hand. The moment the sword was unsheathed, his entire aura changed. If Lancelot was described as a good-looking human nobleman just now, then at this moment, he was like a sharp sword that had already been sharpened. His entire body was covered in the cold light of a sharp blade. The whispers died down immediately. Many members of the Blood Clan had realized that this human was not as weak as they had imagined. Owen also put away his indifferent expression. He looked at Lancelot and said, "You are stronger than I had imagined." Lancelot looked at him calmly and said, "You might say the same thing again in a while." Owen sneered, "Shameless boasting. The number of people who dare to say such things in front of me can be counted on one hand." He looked at Gu Xingyin and said, "The person you like is such an arrogant person?" Gu Xingyin's expression did not change. "You will find out soon." Owen's heart ached at the unreserved trust in her words. He smiled and said, "All right, then let me see how strong a human can be." Lancelot's sword was already slashing down mercilessly. The development of the situation was beyond the expectations of the vampires. Was that man really human? Not some ancient god clan? How could a human possess such power? Many members of the blood race found it hard to believe that Lancelot was locked in battle with Owen. Looking at the calm and composed Gu Xingyin, who seemed to have expected this, the moods of the vampires changed. She was indeed worthy of the prince's attention. She was definitely not a mediocre person. Gu Xingyin's expression suddenly froze. With a flash of her body, she entered between the two people who were fighting. His hands deftly pushed and clapped, successfully separating the two people. That's enough. If she hadn't stopped them earlier and allowed them to continue fighting, it would have been a situation where both sides would have suffered. "Are you that afraid of your man getting hurt?" Oliwen sneered. Gu Xingyin turned to look at him. "Oliwen, don't let your emotions get the better of you. Lancelot's sword aura is not something that can be easily healed by ordinary self-healing." Oliwen's expression warmed up for a moment when he heard that she was thinking for him. But in the next moment he saw that man holding Catherine's hands and complaining intimately, "Are you hurt? Why did you rush out like that?" His good mood instantly disappeared without a trace. Chapter 168. When Gu Xingyin looked over, Owen did not wait for her to speak. He suddenly said, "Since this man is strong enough to be worthy of you, I will fulfill my promise. I, Owen of the McAvoy clan, announce that from today onwards, my engagement with Yekaterina Brooke is annulled." He looked at Gu Xingyin and said each word clearly. For some reason, Gu Xingyin could feel a strong sense of sadness from him even though his expression was calm. Lancelot knew what he was sad about. His intuition told him that Owen's feelings for Gu Xingyin were the same as his own. However, he was not in the mood to sympathize with a love rival. Oliwen didn't stay any longer. After saying that, he left. As the prince of the McAvoy clan, he should be strong and omnipotent. Even if he let go, he should be confident. After Owen left, Rita did not stay any longer. The Blood Clan also left one after another. Lancelot became famous after that battle. No one dared to look down on him anymore. Gu Xingyin and Lancelot lived a peaceful life in Nightingale Castle for a long time. "How did you survive for the past 100 years? Gu Xingyin leaned on the soft couch and looked at her lover who was reading a book. Lancelot raised his head and thought for a moment. "At first I stayed at home. Because I stubbornly refused to get married and have children, I lost my status as the successor of the Ryan clan. This was a relief for me. But then, after 10 or 20 years, the clan realized that my appearance had not changed at all. They began to fear me. There was even one time when I heard my parents talking about me, saying that I was a monster." His tone was very calm, as if he was talking about something unrelated to him. Gu Xingyin felt her heart ache when she heard that. She had forgotten that this world was different from the world of swordsmen. Ordinary people would find it hard to accept that one's appearance did not change and had a long lifespan. Later, I moved to a forest not far from Nightingale Castle. At that time, I no longer needed to eat grains. I don't have to worry about meeting strangers, and I can be closer to you. Before he could finish his sentence, Gu Xingyin suddenly stood up and hugged him. He gently kissed her long hair. Don't think too much. I don't feel sad about this kind of life. Because he always had a thought in his heart, he never felt that the days were difficult. Recently, the blood race had made several big news. Duke Rita had returned to Prince Maikavi's service. Princess Brooke had married that powerful and abnormal human in Nightingale Castle. At this time, the two were nowhere to be found. It was said that they were on their honeymoon. During the wedding, Prince McAvoy and Duke Rita attended as well. The few of them actually enjoyed the banquet, as though they were not affected by the previous incident at all. Are you planning to take me on a tour of the entire continent? Gu Xingyin looked at the man. Lancelot hugged the person in his arms tightly. When I used to practice my swordsmanship, I always thought that one day, I would be able to leave our footprints in every part of the continent with you. He knew that Gu Xingyin had existed for countless years. Perhaps she had already seen the scenery of this continent countless times. But in the past he was not there. He was so domineering. He hoped that when this woman recalled something, he would be in it. Chapter 169. Gu Xingyin raised her head and said to Lancelot, "You have to stay by my side. When I wake up, you'll be the first person I see." Lancelot dotingly looked at his lover's pale face because of her weakness. He leaned over and kissed her lips with heartache. "I promise I'll stay by your side until you wake up." Gu Xingyin laid down in the coffin with a peace of mind. Gu Xingyin was a little worried when the 500-year period of weakness came again. This time, it was the time when Rita wanted to swap blood with Catherine out of jealousy in the original plot. Although Rita and Oliwen did not have the chance to be together in this world, she did not think that Rita would be dissatisfied with her in this world. Gu Xingyin let her imagination run wild. She felt that she might be overthinking things. Coupled with the wave of weakness, she closed her eyes and fell into a trance. Lancelot did as he said. He personally guarded the basement where Gu Xingyin was sleeping and did not allow anyone to enter. He planned to accompany her through this deep slumber just like this, until he received a letter from Oliwen. The letter was indeed written by Oliwen. The contents of the letter made him tremble. He turned around and looked at Gu Xingyin, who was still sleeping peacefully. He waved his hand and set up a layer of restriction before leaving in a hurry. The place where Oliwen had agreed to meet was very far away. Even though Lancelot was flying on his sword, it still took Lancelot almost half a day to arrive. Oliwen was already waiting there. He was pacing back and forth, looking very uneasy. What happened? The two of them asked at the same time when they saw each other. Lancelot's expression turned cold. "Weren't you the one who wrote the letter to ask me out?" Oliwen's expression changed. "You were the one who asked me out." "Oh no." Lancelot looked at his expression and thought of something. They did not speak anymore and hurried to Nightingale Castle. At this time, Nightingale Castle welcomed a group of uninvited guests. "Where is Her Highness' sleeping place?" Rita softly asked a vampire who was pressed to the ground. He was a guard of Nightingale Castle. The Blood Clan member looked at Rita with disdain. "Shameless traitor, you will receive your retribution." A hand pierced through his chest and crushed his heart. Rita slowly pulled her hand out and took out a white handkerchief to wipe off the blood stains on it. "Looks like they won't talk about it. Go and find them." The basement was quickly found. Rita suppressed the excitement in her heart. She could already see the magnificent coffin. "You go take a look and see if His Highness Brooke is inside." She pointed at a vampire beside her. The Blood Clan member was obviously excited. He thought that this was a chance for him to show his face. He slowly walked into the coffin, glanced at it, and then turned back. "That's right, it's a grand prince." Countless snow-white sword lights appeared in the void and shredded him into pieces. "Just as I thought," Rita snorted. "Break the array here." Lancelot's expression suddenly darkened. Oliwen was worried. What's wrong? Lancelot's expression was gloomy. The array I left at Katusha's sleeping place has been broken. Rita looked greedily at the sleeping Gu Xingyin. She could not help but reach out and touch her face. Her expression was full of obsession. Your Highness. Chapter 170. Gu Xingyin was forcefully awakened by the system. If a sleeping blood breed was forcefully awakened, the consequences would be dire. However, the system could not do anything about it. If the host was not awakened, the consequences would be even worse. Even the mission in this world might fail. Rita was shocked by Gu Xingyin, who suddenly opened her eyes. Your Highness. Rita panicked. Wasn't Her Highness in a deep sleep and could not wake up? Rita. Gu Xingyin's dark golden eyes looked at her emotionlessly. You brought so many blood breeds to my castle to congratulate me on waking up from my deep sleep? The aura of a prince instantly swept through the castle. The blood breeds who followed Rita could not help but kneel before Gu Xingyin. Even if Rita was unwilling, she could not resist the instinct of her bloodline. Let me guess. What are you trying to do? Taking advantage of my weakened state to replace me? Gu Xingyin sat in the coffin calmly, trying her best not to let any blood breeds see her weak state. She was forcefully awakened by the system, and was still in a weakened state. Her combat power was less than 10%. If Rita really wanted to go all out, she might not be able to withstand it. The only thing she could do now was to pray that Lancelot would notice the problem with the restrictive spell and rush over. Rita trembled under her aura. I love Your Highness. So you brought so many advanced blood breeds, killed the guards of Nightingale Castle, and forced your way in. Rita's heart was filled with despair. She did not bother to explain herself. She just lay on the ground and waited for Gu Xingyin's verdict. However, after a long time, she did not hear any movement from Gu Xingyin. Rita raised her head and saw Gu Xingyin looking at her with a complicated expression. There was regret, pity, and pain. Rita, who was about to accept her fate, was provoked by Gu Xingyin's gaze. She suddenly straightened up and looked at Gu Xingyin. Your Highness, why are you still showing me such an expression at a time like this? You don't know that it was you who made me hold some unrealistic hopes. Then, you personally shattered my hopes. Gu Xingyin. Oh no, I think I overdid it. After Rita finished her sentence, she seemed to know that she had no chance at all. She was waiting for Gu Xingyin to deal with her. However, she still did not see Gu Xingyin take any action. Rita suddenly had an epiphany. She gritted her teeth and slowly stood up. Your Highness. She tried to approach Gu Xingyin. Let me guess. It's not that you don't want to make a move, but you can't, right? She looked at Gu Xingyin and revealed a strange smile. Your words just now were just to buy time. You didn't wake up naturally at all. You forcefully woke up from your deep sleep, right? Gu Xingyin secretly ridiculed her sister. Do you have to be so quick-witted? Rita suddenly raised her head, and a dense dark energy burst out from her body. The Blood Clan members who were being suppressed by Gu Xingyin stood up one by one. As expected, even the level suppression is weak. Rita smiled and moved closer to Gu Xingyin. Your Highness, you should be an arrow at the end of its flight, right? Gu Xingyin's expression did not change. Even if I only have 10% of my strength left, Rita, with just you and this motley crew, you won't be able to get away with it. Rita sneered. Whether or not they can get away with it, we'll only know after we try. Chapter 171. Reality had proven that even though Gu Xingyin only had 1/10 of her strength left, she was still able to hold her ground under the siege of so many high-level blood breeds. However, she was only able to hold her ground. Rita was getting more and more excited. She said to the blood breeds behind her, she is very weak now. As long as she can hold on a little longer, we will succeed. Gu Xingyin was indeed unable to hold on any longer. Waves of weakness came from within her body. She even felt that her vision was becoming blurry. Lancelot, if you don't come over, I will really fall into an eternal slumber. She muttered. The system could not interfere with the normal development of the plot. The most it could do was to wake the host up and prevent her from falling into a deep slumber so quickly. As if he had really heard her words, she felt Lancelot's aura in the next moment. A sword light that was filled with rage and murderous intent slashed towards Rita, with an unstoppable momentum. No matter how fast Rita was, she was not as fast as the sword light. She dodged quickly and avoided her vitals, but her entire left arm was chopped off. Lancelot had no time to care about her. His figure flashed and he appeared beside Gu Xingyin. However, he only caught his lover's falling body. The bloodbreeds knelt down once again. The bloodline suppression from Prince McAvoy at his peak was not something that Gu Xingyin could barely compare to. Rita, you are very good. You are very good. Owen gritted his teeth and looked at her. Rita knew that this operation had completely failed. She raised her head and smiled disdainfully at Owen. I am not a coward like you. If you like something, you have to fight for it yourself. If I had your strength, I would never let her fall into the hands of others. Owen lowered his head and looked at her. Even if you don't care about her wishes and make her hate you forever? Rita's expression changed. She sneered and said, that is still better than nothing. Owen looked at her from above. The bloodline and glory bestowed upon me by the McAvoy family makes me disdainful of such despicable and lowly actions. Your actions are unworthy of the bloodline of the McAvoy family. I will take back the bloodline I bestowed upon you. Just as he finished his sentence, an obvious change happened to Rita. Her delicate skin quickly shriveled up, and her moist red hair suddenly became white and dull. In just a few seconds, she had turned from a young woman in her prime into an old woman with one foot in the grave. This isn't me. This isn't me. Rita almost screamed. This is you. Without the bloodline I bestowed upon you, you are nothing. Oliwen no longer looked at her and turned to leave. Without the Blood Clan's ability to live forever, this woman wouldn't be able to live much longer. What's wrong with her? Owen came to Lancelot's side. He's asleep. The other party's answer was concise and comprehensive. Oliwen looked at Gu Xingyin carefully. She forcefully woke up during her weak period and fought with someone. This time, her slumber may be prolonged indefinitely until her strength is fully recovered. Lancelot picked her up. It's all right. I have enough time to wait for her to wake up. Oliwen watched him leave with her in his arms. After a while, he looked away and laughed self-deprecatingly. He accepted his fate and helped him clean up the mess behind him. Chapter 172. No one knew where Lancelot had taken her, except for Oliwen, who could occasionally find her whereabouts. The last time Oliwen saw him, he was building a house in a deserted valley, and lived there for 20 years. Have you ever thought about what if she never wakes up? In fact, Oliwen had already sensed that the power in Gu Xingyin's body was slowly recovering. It might not take many years for her to wake up. He couldn't stand Lancelot's affectionate expression, and deliberately wanted to provoke him. After so many years, the two of them had unexpectedly become good friends. Then I will accompany her. When I can no longer accompany her, I will put my ashes beside her. Lancelot was putting a bouquet of flowers with dew beside Gu Xingyin's pillow. Oliwen looked at him and suddenly felt very envious. Unfortunately, he would never have the chance to love someone like this again. Gu Xingyin woke up in the autumn when the leaves fell. When she woke up, Lancelot was sitting beside her. You're awake? Lancelot's smile was as gentle as ever, as if this was a routine greeting every morning. Gu Xingyin also smiled. Yes, I'm awake. In this world, Gu Xingyin didn't know how long she had been with Lancelot. She only remembered that she had experienced innumerable times of weakness and deep sleep, and every time she opened her eyes, Lancelot would look at her with a gentle smile. A swordsman's lifespan was not unlimited, and Lancelot had inevitably entered a period of weakness. Don't be sad. Lancelot still looked so young, and he still held her so gently. I am satisfied that I can accompany you for so many years. He looked at Gu Xingyin. During this period, I think I have had many intermittent dreams about the two of us. He smiled and said, we seem to be destined to be lovers. In every life, I will meet you, and then we will be very happy. Gu Xingyin wanted to cry. Katyusha, don't change me. He kissed her lips. Gu Xingyin nodded. She had lived long enough in this world. Lancelot left quietly. Gu Xingyin did not seem to be particularly sad. She placed his ashes in her bedroom. When the next period of weakness came, she stepped into the coffin with his ashes with a calm expression. Your Highness, that human is already dead. His Highness Prince Brook is now considered single. Other than you, no one else is worthy of her. A member of the blood clan said to Owen. Owen shook his head. No one else would have that chance. That person was dead and Catherine would never wake up again. His guess was right. Gu Xingyin fell asleep and never woke up again. The first thing Gu Xingyin did when she returned to the space was to summon the system. Actually, you know who he is, right? She was not stupid. Even if the system could not find out the identity of her lover, it was impossible that it could not find out after such a long time. This time the system changed its answer. The host does not have enough authority to find out. Gu Xingyin, very good, you are ruthless. Then when will I have the authority? The system's white light flashed. There is no hard and fast rule. When that person is willing to let the host know, the host will know. Gu Xingyin, you win. Chapter 173. Owen Maikavi. He was a third-generation blood breed, the noblest pureblood. He was also the strongest existence in the entire blood breed. However, he was destined to be unable to love anyone. That was because he was born with a curse and the person who cursed him was his mother. As he was too powerful, he had absorbed almost all of his mother's energy when he was still in her womb. She was afraid of him, and she cursed him to die prematurely. However, she did not succeed. When he was born, the woman who gave birth to him was at the end of her life. He was born with this knowledge, so he clearly heard the woman using the last bit of strength in her life to cast the most vicious curse on her own son. You monster! I curse you. Never get close to the person you love. Otherwise you will bring her bad luck. You will kill her. Ha ha ha. He did not take it to heart in the past. The blood breed had such a long lifespan. What kind of relationship could withstand such a long period of training? Everyone was just playing around. As long as they did not fall in love, the curse would never come true. However, he did not know that feelings were one of the most uncontrollable things. He had fallen in love with his fiancée. What kind of man would not be moved by such a woman? How ironic. He was her fiancé. He should have been the one who could rightfully possess her. However, he could not get close to her. He could only wander between different types of men and women to earn himself a reputation of being a playboy. He used this as an excuse to escape from his true feelings. He watched as Catherine looked at him. At the beginning, her eyes were filled with anticipation, disappointment, and finally, calmness. He knew that she had given up on him. He saw the human girl named Rita. She had the same red curly hair and fair skin as Catherine. Even her brown eyes were similar to Catherine's dark golden eyes. Thus he converted her. In the dead of the night, he would treat her as his fiancée and deceive himself. Rita was too smart. She could tell that he had feelings for Catherine. Even she was attracted to him. He chased everyone away angrily. He wanted everyone who had feelings for Catherine to disappear. However, he could secretly get rid of those who had feelings for her. But what about the people Catherine liked? No one told him what to do. He looked at her and the human named Lancelot and smiled at each other. Finally, he could not hold it in any longer and blurted out the feelings that he had hidden for thousands of years. What he got in return was her surprise and disbelief. That's right. He laughed at himself. Based on what he had done in the past, who would dare to believe that he was sincere? He was not willing to give up, so he proposed to compete with that human. In fact, he regretted it as soon as the words left his mouth. Such despicable behavior was unlike him. That man did not disappoint him. A human could actually possess such great power. He was worthy of her. Since he would never be able to give her happiness, then he would give her his blessings. He told himself to let go. But why did his heart, which had long been numb, hurt so much? That man was dying. He knew that no matter how strong he was, a human's lifespan was limited. However, he didn't understand why Catherine didn't change him. He had a premonition that if that man left, he would never be able to see Catherine again. Sure enough, she lay down and never woke up again. From then on, he alone guarded the entire blood race until the end of time. Chapter 174. Gu Xingyin looked at her current situation. System, I think you should explain. System. In this mission world, the host's original body, Shen Xiaoxiao, got into a car accident 2 years ago when she was on vacation. Her parents died on the spot, and Shen Xiaoxiao also lost the ability to stand up and walk. Gu Xingyin. System. The system recommends the host to choose the self-healing ability of the blood breeds from the previous world. Gu Xingyin laughed. Don't tell me you already thought about it. Although she said that, she also knew that the system's suggestion was the most suitable for her at the moment. She couldn't really bear to sit in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. Closing her eyes, Gu Xingyin began to receive the system's transmission of the world's storyline. Ever since the car accident, the original Shen Xiaoxiao's temperament had changed greatly. She became cold and didn't like to talk. Not to mention going out, even her former friends had all cut off contact. At the beginning of this year, the latest holographic MMORPG, Spirit Sword Fairy, seemed to have opened the door to a new world for her. In the game, she could freely walk and run like a normal person. No one would look at her with sympathy or pity, because she was willing to spend money and time in the game. Shen Xiaoxiao's in-game ID was Luo Mu Xiao. She could be considered a famous expert in their server, Riverside Immortals. It was just that this expert was very cold. This was the impression the entire server had of her. She didn't have any friends in the game, until that woman appeared. That ID was Xiao Luyinyu, and she was obviously a newbie. That day, Luo Mu Xiao passed by the novice village, and saw Xiao Luyinyu running away pathetically from a group of low-level monsters. She remembered that she wanted to refine a weapon. Coincidentally, there was a material that could be dropped from these monsters, so she took care of those monsters. Little did she know that Xiao Luyinyu would pester her from then on, insisting on worshipping her as her master. Shen Xiaoxiao refused to look at her countless times, but she didn't give up. It wasn't until a month later that Luo Mu Xiao finally relented and accepted her as her disciple. Luyinyu was lively and liked to act like a spoiled child. Every time Shen Xiaoxiao saw her, she would think of her own ragdoll cat, Tuesday. Although she didn't like to talk and had an introverted personality, once she acknowledged someone, she would treat that person wholeheartedly. She brought Luyinyu to do quests, helped her to get equipment, helped her to forge weapons, everything a master could do. No one could do better than her. She felt that she had at least met a true friend in the game. Until one day, she heard a conversation between Luyinyu and another player. He didn't know if Luyinyu was careless or if she forgot to turn on private chat. I wasn't wrong, right? Luo Mu Xiaoxiao is someone who lacks love in real life. Give her a bit of warmth, a bit of sweetness, and she'll be like a dog that smells a bone, clinging on to you and not letting go. Luyinyu said proudly. Yinyu, you're amazing. Ha 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 ha, I'm still missing a spirit rhino stone. Tomorrow, I'll go look for my good master and act like a spoiled child. Shen Xiaoxiao was practically running away. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao's heart wasn't very good to begin with, and the car accident before caused her body to suffer quite a bit of damage. In a fit of anger, she actually went into shock. Then Gu Xingyin became Shen Xiaoxiao. In Gu Xingyin's eyes, this Shen Xiaoxiao was a bit too sensitive and fragile. If it was her, she probably would have killed that bitch with a single slash of her sword. But she had gone through a great change, so her delicate and sensitive personality was understandable. Xiao Luyinyu, right? Shen Xiaoxiao repeated the name twice, coldly laughing. Chapter 175. Gu Xingyin thought for a long time before she found a mirror in an inconspicuous corner. Ever since she left the hospital, Shen Xiaoxiao had asked the housekeeping company to remove all the mirrors in the house. Gu Xingyin had to search through her memories to find this side. He reckoned that the original owner of this body had forgotten about it. The girl in the mirror had the kind of delicate and beautiful facial features that were unique to southern girls. But her pale and dull complexion and lifeless eyes had shaved off half of her beauty. Gu Xingyin sighed to herself. Shen Xiaoxiao was also a person with a hard life. I will live through this life for you. System. Confirm that I have inherited the blood breed's self-healing ability. Gu Xingyin ordered. The system's white light flashed, and a halo appeared in its body, slowly landing on Shen Xiaoxiao's body. In fact, it landed on Gu Xingyin's soul in Shen Xiaoxiao's body. Gu Xingyin felt a comfortable feeling spread throughout her body, as if the heavy and powerless feeling in her body had disappeared without a trace. However, a sour and numb feeling came from all parts of his body, especially his legs. She knew that this was the effect of the self-healing ability, but this feeling was indescribable. System. How long will it take to completely heal all the diseases in this body? Gu Xingyin asked. The system said, with Shen Xiaoxiao's body condition, half a month for the other parts of her body, but a month for her legs. Gu Xingyin said, please help me block all perception. She was not in a hurry to enter the game. She looked around the house. Shen Xiaoxiao's family was very well off, and after the car accident, she received a large sum of compensation. It could be said that even if she did not do anything for the rest of her life, and only spent money, she could still live a carefree life. She was now living alone in a high-end duplex bungalow. This was where the family of 3 used to live. After Shen Xiaoxiao's parents passed away, many people tried to persuade her to move to another place so that she would not be sad, but Shen Xiaoxiao insisted on not moving. Gu Xingyin didn't have a problem with living here, but she had a problem with the decoration of the whole house. Was it really okay for a young lady in her 20s to make her room look like a 70-year-old auntie? As far as the eye could see, there was not a single bright object in the entire room. It was no wonder that Shen Xiaoxiao would become like that. Even a normal person would probably become reclusive after staying in such an environment for a long time. Gu Xingyin spent a whole week contacting housekeeping companies and shopping malls to renovate her room. Her legs were inconvenient, so she had been living on the first floor. The upper floors were still the same as before the accident, so there was no need to renovate them. The housekeeping company's auntie, who often came to Shen Xiaoxiao's house to do part-time work, smiled happily. Miss Shen, how many times have I advised you that young people should be more energetic? You've finally figured it out. Gu Xingyin was very grateful for the auntie's kindness. She smiled and said, Auntie Liang, you're right. If I stay like this, my parents will be very sad if they know. I want to live happily so that they can rest assured. Auntie Liang looked at her, and could not help but tear up. Her children were about the same age as Shen Xiaoxiao, and for more than a year, every time she looked at Shen Xiaoxiao's appearance, she felt very sad. Fortunately, the girl had finally walked out. Chapter 176. After settling everything, Gu Xingyin picked up the gaming helmet at the bedside. She was actually a little curious. Holographic online games did sound very magical. A white light flashed and Gu Xingyin found herself on a green grassland. She could even see a few butterflies flying among the flowers. She tried to walk 2 steps. It was very agile, almost no different from living in the real world. The technology of this world had already developed to a very powerful stage. At this time, she heard a constant beeping sound beside her. At the same time, a delicate voice was heard. Master, where are you? Master, I am stuck at the one-line sky. Can you come over? Master, are you there? Master, are you offline? I am learning how to refine equipment. I am still missing a spiritual rhino stone. When you come online, can you help me get one? Gu Xingyin glanced at it. They were all messages from the same ID, Lu Yanyu. Without saying anything, she cleared the screen. Following the route in her memory, Gu Xingyin came to a place. This was a hell difficulty instance. Previously, Luo Mu Xiaoxiao was stuck here for 2 days. Not only Luo Mu Xiaoxiao, no player in the server had been able to pass this level. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao's job was a swordsman. Her appearance was very ordinary. She had white hair and black hair. Behind her back was a 3-foot-long sword. Her appearance was also not outstanding. In this game, players could adjust their appearance by 100%. Most players adjusted their appearance. Only Shen Xiaoxiao, who did not take the normal route, chose to adjust her appearance by 100%. Thus, in general, Luo Mu Xiaoxiao's appearance did not look outstanding at all. She tried to slash monsters. The first time after 2 rounds, Luo Mu Xiaoxiao pounced. The second time after 10 rounds, Luo Mu Xiaoxiao pounce. On the third time, Gu Xingyin was more or less familiar with the game. Holographic online games had high requirements for the player's reaction speed, agility, strength and so on. Many of the experts in Linjiang Immortal server were born in the army. However, what could be more familiar with swordsmen than Gu Xingyin, who had lived in the world of swordsmen for thousands of years? Therefore, on the fourth try, after more than 10 minutes of fighting with the boss, Gu Xingyin managed to clear out the boss HP with a beautiful slash. Announcement: Player Luo Mu Xiaoxiao has killed the world boss Bull Demon King, completing the server's first kill and achieving a heaven-defying achievement. She is rewarded with a celestial weapon, Water Dragon Roar. The world channel instantly exploded. Playing Chopper again. What the F***, CK, I soloed Bull Demon King. I can't even last 3 rounds. Falling tree rustling is awesome. Cute. Immortal equipment. There are immortal artifacts in this game? I'm still wearing my gold equipment, and the god is already using his celestial equipment. Piglet. I thought that the first kill would be Mountain River Sword Guru. Fleeting observation. When did Luo Mu Xiaoxiao become so awesome? I've had a PK with her before. She doesn't seem like someone who can kill Bull Demon King. I only look but don't speak. Upstairs, Luo Mu Xiaoxiao must have been going easy on you. Mountain River and I were preparing to kill Bull Demon King in the dungeon. When we saw Luo Mu Xiaoxiao, we waited at the side. I was bored so I recorded it. Take the link. No need to thank me. I'm not talking anymore. I'm going to kneel and lick her for another minute. The world channel was silent for a few minutes. Then, fleeting observation. F***CK, 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 F***CK. Thank you, Almighty, for your mercy. Chapter 177. Gu Xingyin looked at the chat log and searched nearby. Sure enough, she saw a few people standing nearby. I only looked and didn't speak. Seeing that Gu Xingyin had discovered them, he rushed over with a howl. Great God, fallen tree deity, from today onwards, you are my idol. Gu Xingyin glanced at him and didn't say anything. She turned around and left. I only looked and didn't speak. Great God is indeed as cold as the legends say. Fallen tree deity. A cold voice called out to her. Are you interested in a PK with me? Gu Xingyin stopped in her tracks and saw the man who spoke. He had the same white clothes and black hair, but he was much more gorgeous than Fallen Tree Deity's simple appearance. Gu Xingyin noticed that there were dark lines on his collar and sleeves. From time to time, there was a flash of dark light. He was so particular about playing a game. Presumably, this person was also someone who wouldn't compromise in real life. His appearance was very handsome. For Gu Xingyin to comment on him like this, his appearance was indeed very outstanding. However, due to the game's appearance adjustment, it was unknown how much of his handsomeness was exaggerated. Gu Xingyin noticed his ID. Mountain River Single Sword? The server's #1 player on the PK leaderboard? Gu Xingyin raised her eyebrows, sure. Coincidentally, she also wanted to see what kind of standard the normal players in this game were at. The two of them arrived at the arena. Almost at the same time, they drew their swords. I only looked and didn't speak. I was dazzled. Swordsman was the most popular class in Spirit Sword Fairy. Who didn't dream of traveling the world with a sword when they were young? Moreover, swordsman's style and moves were the most stylish in the entire game. Of course, the requirements for the players were also the highest. Mountain River Single Sword was recognized as the strongest swordsman in the server. Many players even thought that he was the #1 swordsman in the entire server. He was also the #1 player on the PK leaderboard. Although Fallen Tree Deity was strong in the past, she wasn't a match for Mountain River Single Sword. But now, you let me win. Gu Xingyin nodded at Mountain River Single Sword and turned to leave. The #1 Blade Master in the server was indeed very strong. This time, the Mountain River Sword did not stop her. Beep. Gu Xingyin opened the virtual page. Player Mountain River Sword has requested to add you as a friend. Gu Xingyin thought about Shen Xiaoxiao's character and refused without hesitation. But in the next second, beep. Player Mountain River Sword has requested to add you as a friend. Gu Xingyin refused again. Ing. Player Mountain River Sword has requested to add you as a friend. This time, Mountain River Sword added a sentence. I received a hidden mission. I need to add you as a friend before I can form a party. Gu Xingyin hesitated for a moment before agreeing. On the other side, Mountain River Sword smiled helplessly. He never thought that there would be a day when he would be despised by someone. He even had to find a reason to add someone as a friend. Not good. The players had already noticed the change in the PK leaderboard. One Sword of Mountains and Rivers, who was originally high and mighty, silently moved down a position. And the position of number 1 was occupied by Fallen Tree Deity. Little Moon like Little Millet. Oh my god, the unchanging number 1 on the PK leaderboard has been challenged. Who is this Fallen Tree Deity? Cursory observation. Upstairs, you haven't been online for the past 2 days? Who is Fallen Tree Deity? Go to the forum and click on the hottest post. You'll know. Playing Chopper again. Fallen Tree Deity is too fierce. First, she killed the boss, Bull Demon King. Then she challenged Mountain River Sword. If it wasn't for the fact that this game can't change gender, I wouldn't believe that she's a woman. Girl is me. Chopper, what do you mean? Are you looking down on women? Come to the arena and PK with me. Chapter 178. In front of Gu Xingyin stood a pink-clothed loli. Above her head were the words Xiao Lu Yanyu. She was Shen Xiaoxiao's cheap disciple. She was a dancer. Everyone knew about this class's attire. Xiao Lu Yanyu's appearance in the game was very good. Her figure was also very good. She pouted and acted cute. Most male players couldn't stand it. She looked at Gu Xingyin with admiration. Master, I didn't expect you to be so strong. You actually defeated the number 1 player on the PK leaderboard, Mountain River Single Sword. Gu Xingyin coldly called her Xiao Lu Yanyu. Xiao Lu Yanyu felt cold. Although Luo Mu Xiaoxiao was usually cold, she always called her Xiao Lu. This was the first time she called her by her full name so seriously. She inexplicably felt uneasy. What's wrong, Master? A message popped up. Gathering and parting will eventually happen. Don't force fate. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao has forcefully removed your master-disciple relationship. In Spirit Sword Fairy, there was a setting that Gu Xingyin was very satisfied with. That was, in the master-disciple relationship, the master had the dominant position. If the master wanted to remove the master-disciple relationship, even if the disciple didn't agree, as long as they spent 1,000 gold, they could forcefully remove it. But the disciple didn't have this authority. Master, why? Xiao Lu Yanyu seemed very sad. She looked at Gu Xingyin with tears in her eyes. Gu Xingyin only said one sentence. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao is someone who lacks love in real life. Give her a bit of warmth, a bit of sweetness, and she'll be like a dog that smells a meat bone, clinging on to you and not letting go. You said that right? Xiao Lu Yanyu's face was pale. Master, listen to me. Gu Xingyin's face was cold. Oh, you explain. I'm listening. Xiao Lu Yanyu. Gu Xingyin didn't guess wrong. She just habitually pretended to be pitiful. This matter couldn't be explained at all. Xiao Lu Yanyu saw that acting pitiful didn't work, so she stopped pretending. What's wrong? Am I wrong? I only gave you a little benefit and you took the bait. If it wasn't for you, how could I have leveled up so quickly? Tell me, aren't you? Before she could finish her sentence, she was sent back to the novice village by Gu Xingyin. This matter was not over yet. Gu Xingyin tore a teleportation scroll and squatted at the respawn point. She camped the corpse and began a force PK. For a person like Lu Yanyu, how could dying once be enough? She wanted to turn Xiao Lu Yanyu white. However, in Spirit Sword Immortal, players who were forced to PK could not take the initiative to go offline, unless there was an external factor that forced them to go offline. For example, a power outage, or someone taking off their helmet. They simply could not refuse. Moreover, it was a force PK. Every time a player died, they would lose a level, and they would lose a random piece of equipment. Even the items in their bags would not be spared. Gu Xingyin played a total of 60 PK matches, no more no less. Every time you die, you lose a level. Lu Misty Rain happened to be level 60. Everything that Lu Yinyu had taken from Luo Mu Xiaoxiao. She wanted her to return them all. The current Luo Mu Xiaoxiao could be considered a famous person in Linjiang Immortal's server. Her every move was watched by people. Now that they saw her killing a level 60 smurf at the respawn point, they all gathered around and gossiped. Seeing this, Lu Yinyu scolded in the world chat. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao, do you still have any shame? The dignified #1 player on the PK leaderboard, a level 90 expert, actually forced a level 60 smurf to PK with me? I know you're jealous that I'm prettier than you, but you're going too far. Everyone, come and judge for yourself. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao forcefully removed my master-disciple relationship for no reason. And then she inexplicably forced me to PK. Gu Xingyin admired her ability to turn black into white. Fortunately, she had a backup plan. Chapter 179. Many of the onlookers actually believed him. A little yellow duck. I don't think so. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao, you have the demeanor of an expert. Waves flying up. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao, I didn't expect her to be this kind of person. The girl is so pitiful. A girl is me. Why should a woman make things difficult for another woman? Playing chopper again. I have a feeling that the Almighty isn't that immoral. Lu Fengyu. Bah! What great God! She's just a slut who can't bear to see others better than her. Our Yinyu treated her so well, and always thought of her as her master. But in the end? Haha, Mountain River Sword. The clear one knows his innocence. I just smiled and didn't say anything. For Lu Yinyu, look at my ID playing chopper again. Was that Mountain River God? What do you mean by that? Help Luo Mu Xiaoxiao. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao. There's a link to the forum. Go take a look yourself. Playing chopper again. Guru Luo Mu Xiaoxiao actually spoke on the World Channel, requesting to combine. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao's usual posts were pitifully few. Many people actually went to the forum to look at the links she posted. Gu Xingyin had a backup plan. She had set up a recording of their conversation. Lu Yinyu had never thought that Luo Mu Xiaoxiao would play such a trick. Based on her understanding of Luo Mu Xiaoxiao was definitely the type of person who disdained to explain. This time, she was in deep trouble. It was the Mountain and River Sword that surprised Gu Xingyin. He was actually speaking up for him. Playing chopper again. F***ck little Lu Yinyu, you're actually this kind of person. I've finally seen what it means to be shameless and invincible. If it were me, I would have done the same to you. Little moon like little millet. Wait, it's so lively. What did I miss? Quick observation. Girl, you're so cute. You're always half a beat slower. Let's go to the forum. A little yellow duck. Guru, I was wrong. I apologize. For a woman like Lu Yinyu, it's not too much to turn her white. Waves flying up. Guru, I was wrong. I apologize. For a woman like Lu Yinyu, it's not too much to turn her white. A girl is me. Guru, I was wrong. Not all girls deserve to be treated well. Xiao Lu Yinyu is bad for life. Gu Xingyin sat there leisurely. As long as Lu Yinyu revived, she would insta-kill her. Sigh, this feeling is really good. Mountain River One Sword was currently running a dungeon with just looking at me don't speak and the others. I just smiled and didn't say anything. Taking pleasure in his misfortune, I said. I really didn't think that God Luo Mu Xiaoxiao, who looks like a quiet and inarticulate person, would actually dig such a big hole for that woman Lu Yinyu. Serves him right. Mountain River One Sword thought of a certain woman who was expressionless, but secretly turned on the recording function, and a smile flashed in his eyes. Being silent doesn't mean that you're brainless. A smile in the wind said, Hey guys, I don't think Great God has joined a guild, right? How about we call the Almighty over? I've seen her play before. If it were a guild war, she would definitely be a killing machine. If you can do it, then that 5 poison thumb ring will be yours. Laughter in the wind was overjoyed. Boss, you're serious. You're not allowed to go back on your word. I'll go right now. Mountain River One Sword smiled indifferently. When have I ever gone back on my words? On the other side, Gu Shenjian successfully turned Lu Yinyu into a beginner outfit. Under everyone's admiring gazes and Lu Yinyu's resentful expression, she left. Offline sleep. Chapter 180. The phone rang and Gu Xingyin picked it up. It was a close friend, Li Yu. Xiao Xiao, I'm in J City. Do you want me to visit you? Li Yu's voice was filled with caution. She couldn't be blamed for being so careful. She hadn't seen Shen Xiaoxiao since a year ago. Even if she came to Shen Xiaoxiao's house, she had never been able to enter. Okay, when are you coming? Gu Xingyin replied. Okay. Li Yu's words suddenly stopped. What did Xiaoxiao just say? My plane ticket is in the morning. I'll be there around 11 o'clock. She was a little excited. Okay. Xiaoxiao. Li Yu bent down and gave Gu Xingyin a big hug. She looked at her friend. Her complexion was good and the house was tidy. She didn't look like someone who was wallowing in self-pity. It seemed that Xiaoxiao had successfully walked out. The bigger surprise was yet to come. You haven't eaten yet, right? I can't entertain you here. Let's go out to eat. After eating, you can push me to the park for a walk. I haven't gone out for a long time. Okay. Li Yu hurriedly agreed. She was afraid that Shen Xiaoxiao would refuse to go out. The two chose a famous restaurant in S City. Young Master Mo, what are you looking at? Mo Tingyuan retracted his gaze. Nothing. The person who spoke just now curiously looked in that direction, and only saw the back of a wheelchair pushing the back. Xiaoxiao, look at that person. He's so handsome. Li Yu suddenly whispered to Gu Xingyin. Gu Xingyin casually looked in the direction she was talking about. His facial features were elegant and his temperament was gentle and leisurely. He was indeed handsome. She felt that he was somewhat familiar. Gu Xingyin blinked. What a coincidence. She remembered. Wasn't this the Mountain River single sword? It seemed that he didn't adjust his appearance in the game. It was just that the ancient and modern clothes made Gu Xingyin unable to react for a while. Mo Tingyuan felt that someone was looking at him. He looked back and saw that it was the woman just now. Gu Xingyin did not feel embarrassed. She nodded at him generously and turned her gaze away from him. Mo Tingyuan was amused. It was rare to see a girl acting so matter-of-factly when facing him. His smile had successfully surprised Zhang Yang, who was eating. I say, young Master Mo, did you see something interesting? Zhang Yang asked. This time he saw Gu Xingyin's face and exclaimed, Oh, so I saw a beauty. What a pity. He looked regretfully at the wheelchair under Gu Xingyin. Eat your food. Mo Tingyuan withdrew his smile and said indifferently. When the two people arrived at the elevator, Li Yu suddenly said to Gu Xingyin with a subtle expression, I'm going to the bathroom. Little Xiao, wait for me here. Gu Xingyin nodded. The moment Mo Tingyuan stepped out of the door, he saw the girl sitting alone in a wheelchair, waiting for the elevator. Her companion was nowhere to be seen. Do you need help? Out of curiosity, he walked over and asked. Gu Xingyin raised her head in surprise. When she saw that it was Mo Tingyuan, she smiled. No, thank you. My friend will be here soon. Just as she finished speaking, Li Yu walked over. Little Xiao, who are these two? Li Yu was surprised. Kind-hearted people. Gu Xingyin said concisely. Puffed. Zhang Yang was amused by this adjective. Was this a line from a primary school textbook? Chapter 181. Li Yu came to S City this time for work, so she only accompanied Gu Xingyin for less than a day before leaving. The moment Gu Xingyin entered the game, she received a friend request from a stranger. She rejected him without even thinking about it. Laughter in the Wind waited for a day, and when Luo Mu Xiaoxiao finally came online, this was the result. Fortunately, he was mentally prepared. Since the great god didn't want to add him as a friend, he would say it in person. For the 5 poison thumb ring with heaven-defying attributes, he would go all out. Gu Xingyin was picking herbs in a valley, and when she looked up, she saw an aggressive beast tamer, rushing towards her. She thought that he was here to seek revenge, so she raised her hand and slashed out. Laughter in the Wind died. No way, great god. Are you saying that no one can enter within 500 meters? Laughter in the Wind didn't revive immediately, but lay on the ground and wailed. The moment he opened his mouth, Gu Xingyin knew that she killed the wrong person. Sorry, someone asked me to settle a personal grudge here. And when I saw you, I thought it was. Gu Xingyin was a little embarrassed. After all, this was her responsibility. Laughter in the wind then tore a scroll, and revived on the spot. Great God, since it's a misunderstanding, then let him pass. Let me introduce myself. I'm Laughter in the Wind. Luo Mu Xiao Xiao. Laughter in the Wind's introduction was cruelly interrupted. He looked over unhappily. So many people? Looking around, there were at least 20 people on the other side, and it was obvious that they didn't come with good intentions. The great god said that he had a personal grudge to settle. And this was it? Was the great god planning to fight 20 people on his own? Although the people on the other side all hid their IDs and equipment attributes, anyone who dared to block Luo Mu Xiao Xiao would know that they weren't simple characters. I didn't expect that the great god, number 1 on the PK leaderboard, would actually ask for help. Obviously, the other side thought that Laughter in the Wind was a helper that Gu Xingyin found. Laughter in the Wind puffed out his chest, and just as he was about to speak, he was interrupted by Gu Xingyin. Step back. Gu Xingyin took a step forward and looked at those people. You're just a few sneaky fellows. Are you worthy of me asking for help? Laughing in the Wind. What the F***ck, that's really arrogant. He likes it. Did Lu Yinyu ask you to come over? I originally planned to settle the score with her, but I didn't expect her to not give up. Cut the crap. Luo Mu Xiao Xiao, so what if you're number 1 on the PK leaderboard? With so many of us, I don't believe that we can't take care of you. Gu Xingyin said slowly. Even if there are 100 pieces of trash, they are still just 100 pieces of trash. Laughing in the Wind felt that the great god was simply too crazy. Why did so many people think that she was low-key in the past? At this time, Gu Xingyin turned to look at him and said slowly, remember to record it. Laughter in the Wind. Then Gu Xingyin moved. She did not hesitate in the slightest as she rushed straight into the middle of the crowd. With this kind of fighting style, if one's skills were slightly inferior, it would be an act of seeking death. But would Gu Xingyin seek death? She let Laughing in the Wind experience what was called flirtatious movement, what was called heaven-defying reaction, and what was called number 1 on the PK leaderboard. What the F***ck? Laughing in the Wind's eyes were sluggish as he watched Luo Mu Xiao Xiao completely destroy the 20 people. Did the great god really not use cheats? Only when Luo Mu Xiao Xiao kept her sword and was about to leave did he wake up from his dream. Great god, I want to worship you as my master. Gu Xingyin coldly and heartlessly rejected him. You're a beast tamer, I'm a blade master. Laughing in the Wind. I can make a smuff. Gu Xingyin. Just tell me your purpose. Laughing in the Wind. Alright, he remembered that he was interrupted when he introduced himself. Chapter 182. So you want me to join your guild? A smile in the wind nodded. Okay. Great God, don't be in such a hurry to reject. Our chatting and laughing pugilistic world is the biggest guild in Linjiang Immortal. Almost half of the players on the PK leaderboard are here. A smile in the wind said as he reacted. Great God, what did you say? You agreed. A smile in the wind couldn't believe it. So simple? Gu Xingyin clicked on the request to join the guild. A smile in the wind immediately spammed the guild chat frowny face guild. A smile in the wind. Great God Luo Mu Xiao has applied to join the guild. Guild a smile in the wind. Great God Luo Mu Xiao has applied to join the guild. Guild a smile in the wind. Great God Luo Mu Xiao has applied to join the guild. Guild a smile in the wind. Great God Luo Mu Xiao has applied to join the guild. Guild I'll just look but don't speak. Damn, who's spamming? Lunatic, what's wrong with you? Guild, I'll just look but don't speak. Damn, Great God is coming to our guild? Guild a butterfly Luo Mu Xiao? Isn't she always alone? Guild Luo Mu Xiao hello. Guild a smile in the wind. Hello Great God, I'm beside Great God. Guild Mountain River Sword, welcome. Guild a butterfly welcome. Guild a cloud made of rain, welcome. Guild love to eat junk food welcome. The entire chatting and laughing pugilistic world guild was queuing up to welcome the Great God. Guild, a cloud made of rain. Everyone look, there's a bounty on Great God in the World Channel. Everyone look at the World Channel. World announcement. Brave men are bound to appear when there's a great reward. Bloody War offers a bounty of 10,000 gold for Luo Muxiao's head. Playing chopper again. Damn, is Bloody War crazy? A little yellow duck. I'm guessing it's related to that bitch Lu Yinyu. Not long ago, someone saw Lu Yinyu and Bloody War's guild leader, Bloody War the world being very intimate. A fleeting glance. Now it's getting lively. Bloody War is going all out for a beauty. A little yellow duck. Great God Guild is at a disadvantage. After all, Bloody Battle is such a big guild. Mountain River Sword. Luo Muxiao has already joined chatting and laughing pugilistic world. Announcement. The wind is blowing and clouds are surging. Strength speaks for itself. Guild chat and laughter in pugilistic world has activated guild war mode against guild blood wars. 3 days later, Storm House will fight to the death. Playing chopper again. F*CK, the Mountain River Sword is indeed domineering. Fleeting observation. This is chatting and laughing world supporting Guru Luo Mu. Girls are me. Why do I feel like I smell something fishy? Waves flying up. Right now, I just want to know how big of a shadow blood of the world has in his heart. Bloody Battle for the world felt a little stifled at this moment. His reason for placing a bounty on Luo Muxiao wasn't wrong. It was to support Lu Yinyu. Lu Yinyu was pretty and knew how to act cute, which greatly satisfied his male chauvinism. Furthermore, no matter how strong Luo Muxiao was, she was only one person. How could Bloodbath, the second largest guild in Riverside Immortals, not be able to deal with a lone ranger? However, no one had told him that Luo Muxiao was a person who chatted and laughed in the martial world. The reputation of the #1 guild in world of martial arts was not just for show. In the entire Riverside Immortals server, at least half of the experts on the PK leaderboard were in chatting and laughing world. As for the other half, they were separated by Dada and Xiaoxia's guilds. In terms of battle power, chatting and laughing world had thrown Bloody War behind by who knows how many streets. The worst thing was that Lu Yinyu's reputation was too bad. There were already many people in the guild who didn't like her. This time, because she wanted to go against chatting and laughing world, there were even a few managers who were dissatisfied with this. Chapter 183. He forcefully suppressed the voices of opposition, and only felt a bit tired. Bloody War. A delicate voice came over, and a pair of arms wrapped around his arm. Lu Yinyu looked at him pitifully. Bloody War, did I cause trouble for you? Bloody War was originally a bit irritated, but seeing Lu Yinyu's considerate appearance, he felt that Laughing World was making a big fuss over nothing. It's nothing. So what if Laughing World is the #1 guild? I, Bloody War, am not to be trifled with. Bloody War, you're so strong. Lu Yinyu's face was full of admiration as she snuggled into his embrace. Gu Xingyin was currently doing a hidden quest with Mountains and Rivers 1 Sword. This quest required 5 people. They were Mountains and Rivers 1 Sword, Falling Curtain Xiao Xiao, Smile in the Wind, Just Watching Don't Speak, and an ID called Unruly Wind. Gu Xingyin only took one look and understood that this was practically Laughing World's strongest lineup. The other 5 were all top 10 players on the PK leaderboard. Just Watching Don't Speak and Smile in the Wind didn't need to be said. They were just 2 chatterboxes plus jokers. Unruly Wind's personality was more silent. Other than doing quests, she almost never heard him speak. Falling Curtain Xiao Xiao and Mountains and Rivers 1 Sword were blade masters. Smile in the Wind was a beast tamer. Just Watching Don't Speak was an assassin. And Unruly Wind was a Taoist. In short, their team consisted of 4 strong attackers and a healer. They didn't even have a tank. Smile in the Wind had once asked this question, and Gu Xingyin and Mountains and Rivers 1 Sword's attitude was surprisingly consistent. Just kill your way through. Mountains and Rivers 1 Sword. Alright, you 2 gods. Only you 2 have the right to say that. Reality proved that their words weren't wrong at all. Basically, the small monsters weren't much of a threat. Once the boss appeared, of Mountains and Rivers Smile and Fallen would sigh immediately attacked it. After a round of strong attacks, the boss's health dropped by almost half. By the time I laughed without a word and Laughing in the Wind attacked it again, Gu Xingyin dealt another blow and it was over. Unruly Wind quietly stood in the background. He never felt that a healer was so unnecessary. Mountains and Rivers one sword side. This is the first time I killed a boss so happily. Of course, he did not forget to record the video. Only in the last round did they encounter some trouble. Not only were the final monsters strong, but they also had insane amounts of HP. For blade masters like Gu Xingyin and Mountain River Sword, they had low HP to begin with. Furthermore, the two of them mainly focused on attack and agility. Basically, they would be defeated after 2 hits from the monster. Smile in the wind, and I just smiled and didn't say anything. It was slightly better for us to hold on for one more round. Fortunately, Unruly Wind was more powerful. After being in the background for so long, he felt quite sullen. Now that he finally had a chance to shine, he almost used his peak strength. Just like that, they finally whittled the monster down to 20% of its HP. Be careful, it's about to go berserk. Laughing in the Wind hurriedly shouted. As expected, the monster's body instantly flashed with a red light and entered berserk mode. Holy sh*t. Attack power and defense power are instantly increased by 30%. Do you need to be so perverted? Laughing in the Wind scolded. My pet can't even do anything to it. Laughing in the Wind was speechless. His pet only lost a few dozen HP when it bit the monster. Looking at the monster's 7-digit HP, he felt that his life was gloomy. Unruly, heal me. Get ready to heal me at any time. Gu Xingyin's eyes lit up. She looked at the monster eagerly. It just so happened that she hadn't used her newly learned chain kill yet. Chapter 184. The white-clothed female swordsman leaped up and unsheathed her sword. Stab. She attacked nonstop for 2 whole minutes. The white-clothed female swordsman was almost negligible compared to the monster. However, no one could ignore her, because every time she slashed down, a shocking red 5-digit number would appear. This attack is simply heaven-defying. The rest of the party members were dumbfounded. Only Unruly Wind barely remembered his quest heal. Pooh. The monster finally collapsed and disappeared into a flash of light. When Gu Xingyin landed on the ground, he realized that he only had a sliver of HP left. Unruly Wind hurriedly cast a rejuvenation and recovered half of her HP. The others came back to their senses one after another. Laughter in the Wind said, I'm impressed. Great God, I'm impressed. Gu Xingyin was actually quite tired at this moment. There was a feeling index in holographic online games. At that time, she didn't hesitate to choose 100%. In other words, if she was injured or died in this game, the feeling was almost the same as in real life. When she was insta-killing the monster, she almost died a few times. Fortunately, Unruly Wind was there, but the pain was real. Mountain River Sword looked at this woman with a burning gaze. The set of chain attacks that she had just used was practically the most perverted set of skills in the online game, Spirit Sword Immortal. However, it was also the most difficult set of skills to execute. At least, before Gu Xingyin used it, there were hundreds of servers in Spirit of Sword Fairy, and not a single player could use it completely, including himself. He was suddenly very curious. What kind of woman would be on the other side of this game? Let's go and see what dropped. Gu Xingyin said. Great God, you go and open it. Laughter in the Wind said directly. If this monster wasn't fallen tree Xiao, they might not be able to clear it. Gu Xingyin naturally had priority. Gu Xingyin didn't hesitate and opened the treasure chest. Unexpectedly, besides a large amount of gold, there was only one weapon. The appearance of a divine weapon. Congratulations to players Falling Tree, One Sword of Mountains and Rivers, I Just Smile But Don't Speak, Smile in the Wind, and Unruly Wind for completing the hidden stage Shadow Water Prison quest. Obtain the immortal artifact, Crimson Phoenix Cry. Crimson Phoenix's Cry, Immortal Tier Swordsman equipment. The user's attack is increased by 20%, agility is increased by 10%, and there is a certain probability that it will absorb 30% of the opponent's attack and use it in the next round. It can advance. Gu Xingyin was surprised. These attributes were almost exactly the same as her Water Dragon Roar. Celestial equipment. I smiled and didn't say anything. I was dumbfounded. Even if nothing else was dropped, the value of this immortal artifact alone was far beyond their expectations. According to the rules, if a team killed a monster, the loot would be distributed according to the player's class. However, there were 2 swordsmen here. I don't need it. Gu Xingyin took out her water dragon roar. I already have an immortal weapon. At this moment, Laughing in the Wind came up and suddenly laughed mischievously. Water dragon's roar, Crimson Phoenix cry. These names sound like a pair. I smiled and didn't say anything. I also came up. Let me see, even the attributes are exactly the same. This can't really be a pair, right? Gu Xingyin. This hidden stage is about to close. Let's go out first. Chapter 185. When they exited the checkpoint, they were not surprised to see that the world channel was flooded with messages. Almost all of them were begging for guides. Laughter in the Wind didn't hide anything and directly uploaded a video. It was the entire process of them clearing the monsters. Oh right, I've also uploaded the video of you taking on 20 people by yourself yesterday. Smiling in the Wind said with ill intentions. Gu Xingyin gave him a good job gesture. What 1v20? Mountain River Sword suddenly asked. Laughter in the Wind was stunned. Did Mountain River have a change of heart today? Didn't he never care about these kinds of things? He still told him about what happened when he went to find Fallen Wood Xiaoxiao yesterday. It must be someone Lu Yanyu found. Moreover, among the people who surrounded God, I recognized a few of them. They were from Bloody Battle Guild. I've dealt with them for so long. Did they really think that I wouldn't recognize them just because they hid their ID? Laughter. What's the bet for tomorrow's guild war with Bloody Battle? Mountain River Sword suddenly asked. Laughter in the Wind was stunned by his sudden change of topic, but he still replied. 10% of the resources in the warehouse. 10% is too little. Change it to 50%. Mountain River Sword said faintly. Mountain River Sword was shocked. So ruthless. Bloody Battle wasn't a small guild with a few dozen people. As the second largest guild in Riverside Immortal, Bloody Battle had over 1,000 players. The items in the guild warehouse were shared by all players. 10% was not a small amount, but Bloody Battle could at least afford it. If it was 50%, Bloody Battle would probably suffer a great loss this time. We don't have any big grudges in the game. Let's leave some leeway. Laughter in the Wind hesitated. Do you think that if Bloody Battle loses 50% of their resources, those players will blame us for laughing pugilistic world? Or blame Bloody Battle for offending us for a woman? Mountain River Sword asked him back. Laughter in the Wind thought for a moment. Then his eyes suddenly lit up. You mean to say? Good Mountain River, you can break up Bloody Battle without shedding a drop of blood. You really are sinister. It was clear that Bloody Battle's resources were shared by all guild members. If they lost 50%, it would definitely hurt the interests of the majority of the players. And the reason why Laughing World of Martial Arts started the guild war was because of Lu Yanyu. Those players didn't have a good impression of women to begin with. If Bloody Battlefront sided with her, it was estimated that Bloody Battlefront would lose a lot of players. The few people present were all core members of Jianghu. When they heard this, their eyes lit up and they were eager to give it a try. Gu Xingyin also glanced at Shanhao One Sword. She did not expect him to be such a black-hearted person. In this world, as long as Lu Yanyu was unhappy, she would be able to complete her mission. The suggestion of the Mountain River Sword was to her liking. You're talking about the righteousness of Jianghu? They were competitors in the first place. Chatting and laughing in the pugilistic world was an open and above-board scheme. Who could say otherwise? After a few words of discussion, Laughing in the Wind suddenly laughed out loud. What's wrong? Why are you so happy alone? I smiled and poked him. Laughing in the Wind pointed at the world channel. Weren't those people shouting for me to show them the guide? Now that I've given it to them, they're unhappy again. I smiled and didn't say anything. I glanced at him and scolded jokingly. I was wondering why you were so generous today. So you've dug a hole for yourself. Chapter 186. The world channel was indeed filled with cries. You said that Smile in the Wind was hiding something? He didn't hold back at all, and recorded the entire process of the 5 people fighting the monster. Everyone saw it very clearly, understood very well, knew very well how they passed the checkpoint. But what use was that? First, you had to have a team of 5 people. This team of 5 people had to be in the top 10 of the PK leaderboard. Okay, although this wasn't easy, as long as you put in some effort, it was barely achievable. But at the end, everyone wanted to explode. Just the final scene of the monster going berserk and Luo Mu Xiaoxiao rushing up to kill it was something that no one in the entire Linjiang Immortal server could do. It wasn't just the Linjiang Immortal server. Players from other servers were also watching on the forum, but no one could do it. Many people on the forum even questioned the authenticity of this video, suspecting that Luo Mu Xiaoxiao used a cheat. How could a player complete such precise maneuvers? The World Channel was also filled with discussions. Frowny face passing horse view flower. God is indeed a god. Lung Defiki. Seriously, this Luo Mu Xiaoxiao couldn't have used a cheat, right? I've seen her previous battle videos. She's powerful, but definitely not to this extent. Sister is me. God is so handsome, God is so awesome. God, you're my idol. Xiao Lu Yinyu. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao must have used a cheat. She carried me for 2 months before. But her maneuvers weren't that powerful. Xiao Lu Fengyu. Yes, I want to complain about Luo Mu Xiaoxiao using a support and affecting the game's fairness. Someone really did report Luo Mu Xiaoxiao on the forum. Spiritual Sword Immortal Game Development Department. Using a cheat? A fair-skinned young man with black-rimmed glasses put down the cup in his hand. Are you questioning my skills? Luo Mu Xiaoxiao, he muttered. I want to see what kind of person can make people question her for using a cheat. What's wrong, Yangzi? A few programmers from the development department walked over. The person called Yangzi casually said, there's a player in the game who's said to have heaven-defying maneuvers. She's being suspected of using a cheat. Using a cheat? How's that possible? One of them sneered. With just a few of us, who can crack our stuff? At this moment, Yangzi had already clicked on the game video. The office was silent for a long time. To be honest, said a programmer, if I hadn't tested it myself, there would have been no way for a plugin to exist. This kind of technology. Yangzi couldn't help but take another sip of water. He exclaimed, this is a holographic online game. The few of us know best that the player's ability is linked to reality. Could this Luo Mu Xiaoxiao be a Special Forces soldier? Or an S-level bodyguard? The discussion on the forum ended with an official statement from Spirit Sword Immortal. The officials of Spiritual Sword Immortal stated that after rigorous testing, the game did not use any external monsters to assist the player. The technical department had also been keeping a close eye on this area, and would not allow any player to take advantage of the situation. In other words, Luo Mu Xiaoxiao was really awesome. This video also garnered Luo Mu Xiaoxiao countless fans. Was she not beautiful enough? Everyone was a gamer, so it was fine as long as their skills were sharp. Could a face tank or insta-kill a monster? The managers of Chatting and Laughing Pugilistic World were too busy just reviewing the applications to join the guild. Not only the players from their own server, but many players from other servers had also joined the guild. They opened their alternate accounts to be closer to their goddess. The guild war with blood battling the world had also begun. Chapter 187. Talking and Laughing Pugilistic World's players had already arrived at Stormhouse. Blood Battle's players hadn't arrived yet, but there were quite a few players who came to watch the show. Dream of 1,000 years. As expected of the #1 guild. Look at their formation. All the players are in groups. As long as they think about the 2 groups of healers and dancers healing and buffing at the back, the attackers at the front have nothing to worry about. Passing horse view flower. Talking and Laughing Pugilistic World's formation is indeed strong, but Blood Battle shouldn't be too bad either. Zio Chopper. Come on, Blood Battle is strong compared to us, but compared to Talking and Laughing Pugilistic World? They're not on the same level. Blood Battle looked at the comments in the World Channel, and his heart was pounding. Damn Talking and Laughing Pugilistic World. Xiao Lu Yinyu looked at him worriedly. What's wrong, Blood Battle? Is it very difficult? Blood Battle squeezed out a smile. Don't worry, Yinyu. I, Blood Battle, have never been afraid of anything. Xiao Lu Yinyu revealed a worshipful smile. I believe in you. Sister is me. Look, Blood Battles players are here. Easy little yellow duck. Isn't that Xiao Lu Yinyu? She actually dares to come? Isn't she afraid of being attacked by God Luo Muzhao's fans? Zio Chopper. I think it's better to worry about God Luo Muzhao's fans attacking her than worrying about God Luo Muzhao's fans attacking her. After all, Great God Luo Muxiaoxiao had personally said that the grudge between the two of them was temporarily written off. Xiao Lu Yinyu had better not appear in front of her. Otherwise, she would kill her every time she saw her. Passing Horse View Flower. When a woman gets hard, she's really ruthless. Sister is me. What are you talking about? I think God Luo Muzhao's true personality. If it was someone else, would you be able to remain calm after your own disciple said those words? Anyways, if it was me, I would definitely make her unable to survive in this server. Don't show up in front of me, Holy Mother. Zio Chopper. I support sister. Although I'm not a girl, Xiao Lu Yinyu is really too much. Gu Xingyin's mood as she looked at the World Channel's messages. Are you really going to attack Xiao Lu Yinyu? Mountains River One Swords question. Gu Xingyin revealed a rare smile. Of course. She's courting death, so how can I let go of such an opportunity? Mountain River One Sword was dazzled by her smile. He clearly had an unremarkable face, but when he smiled, there was an indescribable flavor inside. He had known Luo Muxiaoxiao for so long, but he had never seen her smile. So you know how to smile too? The Mountain River Sword narrowed his eyes. Since this would make you happy, then. He looked at Xiao Lu Yinyu, who was nestled next to Bloody Battle like a little bird. He lowered his eyes. I can only wrong you. The guild war soon began. Just as everyone had expected. Even though Bloody Battle was strong, he stood no chance against Joking Vagabond. At most, he wouldn't lose too badly. However, many people's eyes were on Luo Muxiaoxiao. After all, most of them had only seen her figure on the forum. They wanted to see with their own eyes if this number 1 PK god was really as heaven-defying as the rumors said. Gu Shenjian didn't disappoint. With a flash, she directly rushed towards Bloody Battle's core camp. Was she going to take down the enemy's leader? The surrounding players were all excited. As expected of a god, her first move was so extraordinary. Chapter 188. Bloody Battle. Players all came over to block her. What a joke. Under the eyes of so many people, all of Bloody Battle. Top experts were here. If Luo Muxiaoxiao really broke through to Bloody Battle, alone, then Bloody Battle wouldn't have the face to continue staying here. However, Gu Xingyin used reality to show them what it meant to have heaven-defying agility, what it meant to have amazing positioning. Although she lost a bit of health, Gu Xingyin really did walk in front of Bloody Battle. And little Lu Yinyu, under the eyes of so many players. Laughter in the wind's eyes were shining. Damn, Great God is too cool. I just smiled and didn't say anything. That's true, but as a man, you're actually not as cool as a woman. It doesn't sound good. Laughter in the wind glanced at him. Is Great God Luo Muxiaoxiao a normal woman? In my eyes, her image has already broken through gender and race. She. Shut up. Mountain River Sword said indifferently. Look. Everyone thought that Bloody Battle was dead for sure. Nonsense. Anyone who had seen Luo Muxiaoxiao kill the Bull Demon King boss and the hidden stage would know how sharp this woman's attacks were. If Bloodlust went up against her, there was no way he could survive. Gu Xingyin didn't waste any words. Almost at the same time she arrived in front of the two, her sword fell. Bloody Battle subconsciously raised the sword in his hand, but the opponent's target wasn't him? Little Lu Yinyu fell to the ground. Gu Xingyin said, Little Lu Yinyu, I said before that as long as you appear in front of me, I'll cut you down. It seems like you didn't take my words to heart. Little Lu Yinyu fell to the ground with resentment, but she was so scared by Gu Xingyin's glare that she didn't dare to speak. She was really afraid of this woman Luo Muxiaoxiao. Bloody Battle glared at Gu Xingyin. Luo Muxiaoxiao, you're too much to make things difficult for a girl like this. Gu Xingyin's reply was to give him a direct stab. Don't worry, Lu Yinyu is just passing by. It will be your turn soon. Gu Xingyin said faintly. Whether it was the spectators or the people watching the live broadcast of the guild war on the forums, they all felt that Luo Mu Xiaoxiao's current appearance was simply too cool. Feng Hua Shuiyu. Damn, when can I be so handsome? I'm willing to die in the next second. Berhan Zhizhi. It's morning. Wake up. Hurry up and train. At this time, Bloody War couldn't care less about his face. He directly said to the experts of Bloody War, "What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and kill her." Although it didn't sound good to have many people ganging up on one person, it was still better than Luo Mu Xiaoxiao barging into their headquarters and killing their leader. Gu Xingyin smiled and a burst of light shone from her body. Epic rank scroll. After use, the player is invincible for 30 seconds. Gu Xingyin didn't just charge over in a hot-blooded manner. 30 seconds. I'll make you lie down. Gu Xingyin said softly. Her sword flashed. Damn, it's a chain kill. Bloody War couldn't even survive one round of attacks. 25 seconds. Gu Xingyin sheathed her sword and allowed the attacks of the Bloody War players to land on her body. All of them missed. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. She smiled at Shanha Sword, who was in laughing and talking about Jianghu's camp. She completely ignored the angry gazes of the Bloody War players. There was only 1 second of invincibility left. Gu Xingyin looked at the Bloody War players who were waiting for her to use their ultimate skills to send her back to the resurrection point. Another flash of light shone from her body. Instant teleportation scroll could teleport her to any location. Goodbye. Chapter 189. Thank you for your hard work. Mountains and rivers. One sword smiled towards Gu Xingyin. Unruly wind, who was beside her, healed her at the right time. She didn't charge into the Blood Battles camp alone just to show off. Instead, it was the result of her discussion with the Mountain River Sword. After all, since they had decided to become enemies, there was no need to consider giving them face. The guild war had just begun and their guild leader had been insta-killed in front of everyone. One could only imagine how frustrated the Blood Wars players were. The more he lost, the more he would feel the backlash from the crowd's comments and ridicule. At that time, who knew how much damage Blood Wars of the world could take? Since the first step had been taken, then the next step would be to follow the plan. The morale of Laughing World was high while the opposite was true for Blood Wars. There was already a huge disparity in strength. And with this, the result could be imagined. Blood Wars was utterly defeated. No one knew if it was intentional or not. But in this guild war, the most miserable player was definitely little Lu Yinyu. No one else. Why? As long as Lu Yinyu appeared nearby, every player who was chatting happily would not care about the opponent they were piking, and would always accidentally fail. Even if they had to risk being sent back to the respawn point, they would still drag Lu Yinyu down with them. In less than an hour of guild war, Lu Yinyu had lost over 100 times. Basically, she was sent back the moment she went up. It was a huge tragedy. The Blood Wars players thought that even if they lost, they wouldn't lose too badly. In the end, they overestimated themselves. Many of them felt embarrassed. However, Laughing World felt that it wasn't enough. Laughing in the Wind poked me and smiled without saying anything. After this guild war ends, when will the bets be given to us? Although he looked like he was just chatting with me, all the Bloody Battle players heard what he said. Many of them nearly spat out blood. Do you have to be so mean? If the system didn't say that the guild war would only end when the bets were given to the winner, would they still have to stand here and embarrass themselves? Coincidentally, the moment Laughter in the Wind said that, a notification appeared in the world. Winner takes all. Guild Bloodbath was defeated by Guild Joking World. According to our agreement, Guild Bloodbath will unconditionally compensate Joking World with 50% of Guild's assets. What? Bloody Battles players were in an uproar. Even Blood Conqueror was shocked by these words. He hurriedly opened the system record. That's right, the bet was 50% of the Guild's assets. On the day of the letter of challenge, the stakes were still 10%. You're just joking around. You're cheating. Bloodlust glared at Mountain River Sword. Mountain River Sword's eyebrows didn't move. Indeed, we modified the bet later, but the system will send the modified content in the form of an email to the other party's guild master, which is you. Are you telling me that you didn't know about this? Blood conquering the world remained silent. He had received at least a few dozen emails, if not 100. It just so happened that he had been on bad terms with a few of the guild's elders over the past few days due to the incident with Lu Yenyu, so he hadn't paid much attention to them. Who would have thought that joking vagrant would take advantage of this loophole? Bloody War, is this true? Asked one of the vice leaders in Bloody War. How could he not know? I think that he purposely didn't tell us. A player who was unhappy with Lu Yenyu said furiously. Chapter 190. Before Bloodlust could say anything, a message popped up in the guild chat. Player drunk has been kicked out of the guild. Who did it? Bloodlust's manager immediately asked. Drunk was a veteran player of Bloodlust. He had been with Bloodlust since the beginning of the guild. Just because of one sentence he was kicked out? The managers all shook their heads. At this time Lu Yenyu stood up. I kicked him out. Drunk questioned the guild leader, and shook the guild's morale. What's the point of keeping someone like him? Lu Yenyu, do you know that I've been tolerating you for a long time? Vice guild leader Yuanyang Dream couldn't help but explode. Who do you think you are? You think you're above the heavens just because you're a bit pretty and you've bewitched Bloodlust? Let me tell you, Bloodlust doesn't need you to speak. Lu Yenyu seemed to be scared and immediately hid behind Bloodlust. Bloodlust, I didn't do it on purpose. I just saw Drunk talk about you and I couldn't help it. Just at this time, Drunk began to curse in the world chat. Drunk. I Bloodlust. You *************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** how agitated Drunk was right now. However, there were some people who didn't mind watching the show. Ziyo Qianxiu, selling melon seeds and soda in the front row. Passing horse Guanhua. You fake goods, you can be seen everywhere. Lung Defiki. The guild war hasn't even ended and Bloodlust is already fighting amongst themselves? Bloodlust originally thought that Lu Yinyu was acting on her own, but now he was furious. He directly said, Yinyu didn't do anything wrong. Drunk insulted the guild leader. According to the rules, it's not too much to kick her out of the guild. Yuanyang Dream looked at him with some disappointment. Bloodlust, is that what you really think? Lu Yinyu, you're just going to let this go? Bloodlust said irritably. Yuanyang, you're so annoying. So many of you are always targeting one girl. Is there any meaning in it? Yuanyang Dream sneered. It's not that we're targeting her, but you should open your eyes and see what she's done. Ever since Lu Yinyu came to our guild, Bloodlust has become a joke in Riverside. Bloody battle, I'll leave my words here. It's either her or me, and it's either me or her. At this moment, another announcement popped up in the system. Due to guild blood battle not paying up for the bet, the system has automatically allocated 50% of the guild's assets to chatting and laughing pugilistic world. Shuizhan was already irritated to begin with, and when he heard this news, he immediately flared up. Are you threatening me? I, Bloodlust of the Heavens, will also say these words today. Lu Yinyu is someone I, Bloodlust of the Heavens, will protect. Who dares to touch her? Yuanyang Dream sneered. Good. Everyone, let's meet again. Guild player Mandarin Duck Dream has left the guild. Many guild members were dumbfounded by Mandarin Dream's words. Mandarin Dream was the vice guildmaster of Blood Wars. As a woman, she was gentle and meticulous. She was also fair and upright when handling matters in the guild. She was a goddess in the hearts of many Blood Wars players. Bloody Battle for the World had never thought that Mandarin Duck Dream would leave so easily. However, what happened next caught him off guard. Player 1234 has left the guild. Player Feng Huahua has left the guild. Player Little Pig has left the guild. Player Unlimited Landscape has left the guild. In less than an hour, almost half of Blood Wars was gone. Chapter 191. Mountain River. And God Luomu Xiaoxiao, look at the PK leaderboard. Smile in the Wind suddenly shouted. Gu Xingyin clicked on the leaderboard and took a look. Indeed, many of the guilds behind the players who were originally in Bloody War had become blank. As expected, let me see. Not to mention the low-level players. At least half of the mid to high-level players in Bloody Battle are gone. Smile in the Wind said excitedly. Gu Xingyin was in a good mood and said, their guild has lost half of their wealth and half of their members. Isn't that good? Smile in the Wind was stunned. After a long while he said, I didn't expect that God Luo Mu would have such a mean time. Gu Xingyin kept silent. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao's image was too cold. Even if she wanted to change, she couldn't do it in one go. She could only do it slowly. Xiaoxiao. Mountain River Sword suddenly shouted. Gu Xingyin was shocked. When they met before, Mountain River Sword had never called her real name. Usually, the two of them would just call each other. Suddenly, it was a little weird. She glanced at Shanhe One Sword in surprise, but she didn't say anything. Seeing this, Mountain River Sword smiled and said, come with me to a place. Gu Xingyin nodded. According to her understanding, whenever Mountain River Sword wanted to take her to a place, he would never disappoint. Laughing in the Wind's gossipy gaze shifted between the two of them, but unfortunately, the two of them completely ignored him. When the two of them left, I, who had been in the background, smiled and didn't say anything. Only then did I sneakily walk to Smile in the Wind. The two of them gave each other a wretched smile. Smile in the Wind said, looking at Mountain River, he must be interested. I smiled and didn't say anything. Do I need you to say that? Even an idiot can see that. But, Smile in the Wind held his chin. This God Luo Mu Xiaoxiao, his personality doesn't seem easy to get along with. His looks. I smiled and didn't say anything. I smacked his head. Why are you so tacky? God Luo Mu Xiaoxiao has personality. Looks can make a living. Laughing in the Wind. Food and sex are part of human nature. I'm just thinking like a normal man, okay? Gu Xingyin followed the Mountain River One Sword to a place. This place. She originally thought that the Mountain and River Sword had discovered another hidden checkpoint. She didn't expect that it was just bringing her to see the scenery. It was evening in the game. The afterglow of the sunset was like fire, and the sun shone on the surface of the lake, reflecting a stunning beauty. The Mountain River Sword saw that she was not as happy as he had imagined. He was a little confused. I found this place by chance and thought it was very beautiful. Don't you girls like this kind of beautiful scenery? What, you don't like it? Gu Xingyin regained her senses and looked at the Mountain River Single Sword. No, it's very beautiful. Both of them had fine black hair and white clothes. Their clothes fluttered in the wind as they tangled together. Under the afterglow of the setting sun, it seemed to be plated with a layer of light. Coincidentally, a player passed by and captured this beautiful scene. The next day, Gu Xingyin went online and received a message from the Mountain River One Sword. Go to the forums. She opened the forums and saw that the picture of her and the Mountain River One Sword together yesterday was pushed to the top. The first picture was of two swordsmen with fluttering white clothes standing side by side. Their fine black hair intertwined. I didn't know if it was because of the environment or the angle of the photographer, but it looked very ambiguous. Chapter 192. This OP seemed to be a fan of Luo Mu Xiaoxiao and Mountain River Single Sword. Moreover, she was a fan of the couple. She wrote 1,000 words of self-understanding for this picture. The two of them held hands and watched the sunset together, expressing their feelings to each other. Her language was so vivid and flowery. If he wasn't the main character, Gu Shenjian would have given her a thumbs up. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao and Mountain River One Sword were both famous players in the Riverside Immortal server, and Luo Mu Xiaoxiao was a famous player in the entire Spirit Sword Immortal online game. In short, this post was popular. Not only was it pushed to the top, but the number of replies was also increasing at a terrifying speed. There were mixed reactions. Other than a small number of rational players who questioned the relationship between the two, the rest believed that the relationship between the two was not ordinary. Among the latter, most of the people were either supportive or had nothing to do with them. Only a small number of people began to curse. Although Luo Mu Xiaoxiao is powerful, she doesn't even look at herself. How could she be worthy of Mountain River Single Sword? It had to be said that Mountain River Single Sword's face was really good-looking. Many female players were his fans. That's right. Being powerful in the game can make a living. What is Mountain River Single Sword thinking? I say, you guys really think that Mountain River Single Sword is as shallow as you guys? I say, the person above is really a salted radish. What does this have to do with us? Gu Shenjian quickly read a few pages. She felt that it was not interesting and did not care about him anymore. I saw it. What's wrong? Gu Shenjian sent a message to Mountain River Single Sword. The Sword of Mountains and Rivers came very quickly. He glanced at Gu Shenjian and found that she was no different from usual. He suppressed the disappointment in his heart and asked, "What do you think after reading the post?" Gu Shenjian said faintly, "A group of boring people. I don't have any thoughts." Mountain River Single Sword was silent. Sure enough, this answer was very similar to Luo Mu Xiaoxio's style. This also proved that Luo Mu Xiaoxiao did not have any other thoughts towards him. For the first time, Mountain River Single Sword doubted his own charm. What's wrong? Gu Shenjian looked at him and asked. Mountain River Sword came back to his senses. It's nothing. Then I'll be going offline. I have something to do later. Gu Shenjian nodded at her, and his body turned into a white light and disappeared. She did have something to do. System, logically speaking, my leg should be fine by now. The system replied. The host can try to stand up. Gu Shenjian held onto the armrest of the wheelchair and slowly stood up. His condition was very good. Other than his legs being a little sore and weak due to sitting in a wheelchair for a long time, there were no other major problems. She lifted her trousers and found that some of the previous atrophy on her legs had disappeared. Now, Shen Xiaoxiao's legs were no different from a normal person's. Gu Xingyin stood up and took 2 steps. It felt good to be able to step on solid ground. Although it could be done in the game, it was still incomparable to reality. Then the next step is to train well. Gu Xingyin was in a good mood. At the other side. What did you say? Young Master Mo? Zhang Yang was so shocked that he almost spat out the drink in his hand. What did he hear? Mo Tingyuan was actually asking him how to woo a woman. Don't tell me that you really like Luo Mu Xiaoxiao. Mo Tingyuan raised the cup in his hand and took a sip. So what if I do? Chapter 193. So what? Zhang Yang blinked his eyes and laughed. Who told you to be so arrogant? This time, you've fallen into my hands. He coughed. Sigh about that. However, before he could put on airs, the man opposite him said, a few days ago, when I was clearing a dungeon, I happened to get a 5-poison dagger. Zhang Yang's eyes widened in surprise. 5-poison dagger. The name sounded the same as the 5-poison ring that he had extorted from Mo Tingyuan not long ago. As a monster tamer, how could he miss such an item? He immediately changed his expression and smiled amiably. Aya, young Master Mo, I say, you've found the right person. Chasing a girl. Mo Tingyuan sat there quietly and listened to Zhang Yang imparting his experience. Gu Xingyin received an email from the system. Server player PK competition. The top 50 players will be invited to participate in the player exchange conference held by Spirit Sword God? Gu Xingyin frowned. She was not interested in the player exchange conference. However, she could participate in this server PK competition. Beep. Another email was sent out. Player appearance competition, both male and female. The top 50 players will be invited to the player exchange conference? Gu Xingyin finished reading this paragraph. She suddenly remembered what the game company wanted to do. If you ask me, just find the top player on the PK leaderboard to be the spokesperson. It's so troublesome. Someone in Spirit Sword God's game development department complained. Yangzi frowned. I can understand the company's request. In this day and age, who doesn't look at appearance? It's already very rare that our company can find players in the game to be the spokesperson instead of those celebrities. Although that was what they said, for programmers like them, what they hoped for the most was to have players who were truly strong and could represent the entire game. He looked at his computer desktop. On the screen, a white-clothed female swordsman stood there. her cold expression full of murderous intent. Although her face was not very beautiful, she had her own aura. What a pity. He sighed. With Luo Mu Xiaoxiao's situation, even if she could become the #1 PK player in the entire server, the company would probably not consider her. Little Xiao, have you seen the system mail? Mountain River Sword asked Gu Xingyin. Gu Xingyin nodded. I'm going to participate in the PK competition. Mountain River Sword seemed a little excited. With your strength, entering the top 50 of the server is not a problem at all. At that time, I will be able to see you. What he did not know was that Gu Xingyin had no intention of participating in that exchange. The whole server PK competition was held in the game, but the player appearance competition was held on the forum by the officials. Gu Xingyin also saw Lu Yenyu's true face for the first time. It had to be said that Lu Yenyu was indeed quite pretty. Players who had the confidence to post pictures of themselves on the forums were generally those who were confident in their own looks. Even among this group of players, Lu Yenyu was considered outstanding. Grudges in the game never lasted long. Players were all forgetful of things that did not happen to them. Very quickly, Lu Yenyu relied on this appearance competition to find many flower protectors. Many people tried to clear her name. There were even some idiots who ignored the ironclad evidence on the forum and cursed Luo Mu Xiaoxiao for slandering others. They said that Yenyu was such a cute girl. How could she say such vicious words? Chapter 194. All in all, the forum was in a state of chaos. Gu Xingyin was too lazy to argue. After all, there was a type of person who, as long as she believed in something, even if she saw it with her own eyes, she would turn a blind eye to it. She was preparing for the server PK competition. The server PK competition's rules were that there was no server to determine the top 10 players. After that, the order would be messed up, and the remaining 50 players would be the top 50 players. Of course, although the top 50 players could participate in the player exchange conference, the rankings still had to be determined. Riverside Immortals' top 5 players were quickly selected. Out of the 5 players, 3 of them were chatting happily. They were Fallen Tree Xiaoxiao, Mountain and River Single Sword, and I just smile but don't speak. The other 2 were also experts who had been in the server for a long time. Fallen Tree Xiaoxiao, Mountain and River Single Sword God. I don't have much hope. Our Riverside Immortals is the first server of Spirit Sword Celestial. The champion will depend on the 2 of you. The player with the ID Shallow Smile said. The server PK competition was in full swing, and the voting on the forum was also in full swing. I didn't think that Lu Yenyu's votes would be so high. Gu Xingyin was surprised. Lu Yenyu was in the top 10. She was not bad-looking, and she was good at interacting with people. She acted coquettishly and many male players liked her. If we don't do something, Lu Yenyu can really use this competition to climb back up. Gu Xingyin thought. Originally, Lu Yenyu's reputation in Riverside Immortals was terrible, and she didn't have a good reputation in the entire forum. However, when the voting came out, Gu Xingyin had already received a few emails, and the general idea was that Fallen Tree Xiaoxiao should be lenient whenever possible, and that everyone should settle things peacefully. It really is a world that looks at faces. Gu Xingyin silently complained. The system said, "You are known as the most perfect creation. Just let me hear it, don't let others know. Be careful of getting beaten up." Gu Xingyin. Other than you, who else has seen what I look like? The system said. Actually, there are so many people on the forum who are speaking up for Lu Yenyu. According to human logic, it's because she's pretty but weak. You Luo Mu Xiaoxiao are #1 on the PK leaderboard. You're so strong that no one can beat you. Humans like to sympathize with the weak. Gu Xingyin smiled. In the end, it all depends on the face. Sigh, looks like I'll have to attend the player conference. Otherwise, I'll really become a vicious person. Gu Xingyin sighed. Since Lu Yenyu wanted to use her looks to gain the support of the majority of male players, she would make her lose even her final advantage. It's really depressing. I've always relied on my strength to speak. I didn't expect that one day, I would have to rely on looks. Gu Xingyin seemed to be worried. The system said. Host, please don't violate your character settings. It felt like the host had contracted some strange illness. Gu Xingyin sighed. It seemed like she had been suppressed for too long as Shen Xiaoxiao's expressionless face. Her words and actions had become somewhat abnormal. These two events lasted for an entire month. When the voting on the forum finally ended, the PK competition's final result was also decided. It was almost within everyone's expectations. Luo Mu Xiaoxiao was the champion of the entire server PK competition. Mountain and River One Sword lost to her, and was relegated to second place. The first and second place were both in Riverside Immortals, which fully proved the strength of Riverside Immortals. Chapter 195. Not only did Xiao Lu Yinyu enter the top 50 of the beauty contest, her ranking was also quite high, 9th place. Yinyu, you'll be going to the player exchange in a few days. If you meet that Luo Mu Xiaoxiao, you must remember to teach her a lesson. A female player who had a good relationship with Xiao Lu Yinyu said to her. Xiao Lu Yinyu's expression was proud. Of course. Real life isn't the game, so what if she's the #1 PK god? With her appearance, probably not many people will care about her. Xiaoxiao. Gu Xingyin turned around. The only person who would call her that in the game was Mountain River One Sword. The player exchange is in a few days. When will you come? Mountain River One Sword asked. I live in J City, it's very convenient. Gu Xingyin replied. Mountain River One Sword was clearly surprised. You're actually in J City, what a coincidence. I'm also in J City. What a coincidence, I've seen you before. Gu Xingyin silently said in her heart. Then when will you come? Mountain River One Sword asked. We can go together. In this period of time, Mountain River One Sword had been looking for all kinds of reasons to find Gu Xingyin. Even the slowest person would know what Mountain River One Sword was thinking. Although from the previous worlds, Mountain River One Sword's identity and appearance was very likely to be her lover, before Gu Xingyin was sure, she wouldn't easily get close to people. I won't necessarily go, she said. Actually, she had already made her decision, but she didn't know why, but she decided to say this on the spur of the moment. Sure enough, Mountain River One Sword's expression changed when he heard this. What? Is there something? Gu Xingyin vaguely said. Yeah, there's something. Mountain River One Sword didn't seem to be in a good mood. So the two of them said a few words, and then went offline. Soon, the day of the player exchange arrived. The game company of Spirit Sword Immortal specially booked a 5-star hotel as the venue. Many players had rushed over from other places 2 days ago, so when Mountain River One Sword arrived, there were already many people inside. At the entrance, there was a staff member holding a sign with the player's ID on it. Everyone could just use their own ID. Actually, it was quite easy to identify the people. The 50 good-looking players were all very popular on the forums, so they could all recognize their faces. On the other hand, the PK players weren't so easy to recognize. After all, the players' appearances in the game change, and these players' appearances weren't as good as the other side. Even so, when the Mountain and River Sword entered the arena, there were still people who recognized him. After all, he had never adjusted his appearance before, so the players were still very familiar with this expert's face. Mountain River One Sword a lesson. Was a good name is a name is a good. Who said that the players in our PK group only have skills and no good looks? Look at our great god Shanha. He defeated all the other male players on his side by himself. Great god Shanha is simply the representative of our PK group in terms of looks. Many female players looked at him with sparkling eyes. They did not expect that the Mountain River Sword was not only powerful in terms of maneuvering, but also in terms of looks. Yinyu Mountain River One Sword is so handsome. The female player standing next to Lu Yinyu excitedly said. Lu Yinyu unhappily said. He's just a little better looking, what's the big deal? She didn't forget the grudge between her and Laughing Wanderer. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.